Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Once again, everybody, PayPal and Patreon links are both down below for anybody who wants to support me. Only do so if you actually can. So, the ongoing extreme drought conditions in the western U.S. continue progressing as water levels across various reservoirs and rivers continue to drop, with Arizona and New Mexico getting some relief for a little bit, and Utah got some for a few days or so a little while back, and California even actually saw some rain just recently for like a day. And did that help or reverse anything? No, not really. I mean, it stalled stuff for like a day or so while it was happening, but then everything just kept going. And so here we are with Lake Shasta this time, the largest reservoir in California. It is now down to only 25% full, which you may not initially think if you just look at its water level. As its water level, and keep in mind the U.S. lakes system is measured by elevation feet, so the water level listed is how high the surface of the water is above sea level. It's not referring to the actual depth of the lake. When full, which it was near full about 3 years ago, I believe, it would be up at about 1,060 or 1,070 elevation feet. And over 2019 and 2020, it dropped down to about 980. And over the course of just this part of this year that's gone by so far, it's dropped all the way down from 980 down under 900 and is now at 898 elevation feet. Or rather, just under 898 elevation feet. Now, the lowest point, if you look up the depth of Lake Shasta, is closer down towards like 500. So if you're looking at it and you just do some initial like basic math, it probably initially looks at least like it should still be up close to like 70, maybe 65% full. However, no, it's all the way down at only 25%. And the reason it's kind of deceptive like that is because of this. As you can see in these satellite images, the lakes and reservoirs, particularly out in the west, have sort of usually a main central channel and then quite a number of branch-offs stemming from it. And those branch-offs especially make up a decent portion of its area and its volume. However, in most cases, those branching segments are several hundred feet less deep than the main channel, and the main sort of canyon or channel itself, remember, also gets narrower and narrower the further down you go into it. So each foot you go down, even in the very deep portion, each foot you go down volumetrically contains less water than the foot above it did. And in reality, when you see a depth of like, say, 500 feet listed for a lake, in reality, that depth is basically only for the immediate area right behind the dam, and sort of a several hundred foot wide or maybe 1,000 foot wide or so channel that sort of goes back from that through the lake for a little bit. So that's why the water level itself can often be pretty deceptive. Like with Lake Oroville, for instance, the probably most famous one, because it started popping up in the news once its dam had to shut down. Lake Oroville dropped from 900 elevation feet down under 640. 640 was the threshold level where the dam couldn't operate anymore. However, if you look at it, its depth, its maximum depth is listed as still several hundred feet deeper. But if you look at a bunch of present-day pictures, you're going to find like just dry lake beds and everything when you look up Lake Oroville. That's because, like I just said, that super deep area is just the really narrow main channel directly behind the dam and then stretching onward from the dam, whereas most of the area of the lake, comprising most of its volume, is much less deep than that. And also something that might initially deceive people is Lake Shasta's location. It might look like the only like place nearby that should be affected is like Redding, California or so. However, that's not the case because water is distributed all throughout California via a mess of aqueducts and pipeline systems from different reservoirs throughout the state. A huge chunk of the water that comes from inside the state actually comes from Northern California and is pumped throughout other places, especially down towards Southern California, where there's way less water naturally, and also a fair bit of imported water through several hundred miles of additional pipelines from over on the Colorado River, which is fed by Lake Mead and Lake Powell, which are also extremely low at the moment. But we usually touch on them during our monthly drought update. You can catch the latest one, the one for the start of this month. I'll put a link to that. Granted, that data is over 2 weeks old by this point. So Lake Shasta is now down to only 25% full, along with quite a number of other lakes in the state are in the 20s. Some are still above that range, but they're most likely not going to be there for long. Some of them, like the San Luis Reservoir, are even all the way down at only like 14% full now. And the two big reservoirs feeding the Colorado River, which California imports a lot of water from, Lake Mead and Lake Powell, they're both down between like only 30 and 35% full now also. So yeah, most stuff is still tumbling down, and things are getting quite interesting. But for the moment, that's it for this one. So thank you everybody for sticking around and listening. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. I have dozens, hundreds of other episodes you can listen to or watch about energy, resources, mining, water, all kinds of stuff. You can support me through PayPal or Patreon. Only do so if you actually can, though. May God bless and protect you all, and grant replenishing rain to those who need it most. And I will see you all around next time.